What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a film that's been out for a few weeks now that I've been very excited to see. And I'm actually bummed it took me this long to watch it. But I was excited to watch this movie for a couple of reasons. The first reason is this is directed by filmmaker Coralie Fargeat, who directed a film called Revenge that I thought was fantastic. Not only was it a really great story with excellent performances, but it was highly stylized with excellent cinematography. And I watched it for the first time on Shudder and just thought it was incredible. And I've been really looking forward to see what she was going to make since then. And the second reason I was excited to watch this movie is because Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley are excellent actresses. And I heard that this was a body horror film, which is one of my favorite horror subgenres. And so all of that meshed together made me really excited to watch this movie, and the film I'm going to be discussing with you today is The Substance. Substance is directed by Coralie Fargeat. A fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. So, as I said, I was really excited to watch this movie because of the director and the actors involved, and this movie is phenomenal. It is absolutely incredible. I was blown away by some of the stuff that was incorporated in this movie. A lot of what made Coralie's first film, Revenge, translates into this movie. It's highly stylized. The cinematography is incredible. The utilization of sound in the score to accompany the visuals creates just a complete and totally immersive experience that for the a little over 2 hour runtime of this movie, you never want to look away from the screen, except maybe to cover your eyes during some of the really horrific sequences. It has great practical effects, and the themes of this movie aren't necessarily subtle, but that's the point, and that's something that I can really appreciate with this movie, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So that plot description at the beginning, the simplest, most easy description of the movie is at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore. And she is an aging actress that's been in Hollywood for a while, and what she's really known for currently is that she does this daytime like fitness program that she is the face of. And the head of it all is Harvey, played by Dennis Quaid. And he is in the process of attempting to let her go. She goes to the bathroom at some point, overhears him making a comment about how she's old and that they need a new, younger face at the front of the program. And we get through a really cool intro sequence at the beginning of the movie, kind of the trajectory of Elizabeth's career and how popular she was, but now getting older, she's not as at the forefront as she used to be. And so she goes to an appointment one day, and one of the doctors at the appointment like makes a comment about being younger and wanting to be the best version of yourself, and hands her this like USB drive that says The Substance on it. And she goes home and she ends up throwing it in the trash can. But after some things happen, you can tell she kind of rethinks to herself, okay, I'll look into what this is. So she puts the USB drive in her TV, and you find out this is some kind of drug that is going to give you the ability to create a younger version of yourself. And so she calls the phone number. A random voice on the phone asks her a couple of questions and says, you'll come pick this thing up from this locker. So she takes this card that's dropped off at her house to this locker and brings home this box that contains the substance and all of the things that goes with it. And the entirety of the film is Elizabeth's character creates this younger version of herself and what happens after the fact. So like I said, this movie is incredible. And for starters, I want to talk about the performances. Demi Moore is exceptional in this movie, and she is asked a lot of. I feel like, if anything, this performance is just so bold and powerful. I think the subject matter of the movie, obviously, like I said, it's not like it's under the surface. It's very much in your face. The themes of this movie are ageism, the way people are treated in the entertainment industry when they get to a certain age, the way women are perceived in the industry, the way women perceive their own bodies and how other people perceive their bodies, the control men put on women in this specific industry, and that's incredibly prevalent through the themes in this movie. And so much is centered around the female body. And Demi Moore has some really incredible scenes that do such an amazing job showcasing all of those themes solely through her performance, and not even necessarily through the dialogue, but just the way she moves on screen, and the way, like, there's scenes of her just looking at her body in the mirror and just the way she reacts to situations. There's one scene in particular that is just incredibly powerful, where someone from her school that she grew up with asks her to go on a date. And obviously she's been this huge celebrity. She's kind of been at the forefront for so long. And she like gets herself ready for this date to go out with this guy. And she looks at herself in the mirror and she just ends up like smudging all her makeup off and doesn't end up going. And it's such a powerful scene of like self-perception and how other people's influences on you can affect the way you feel about your body. And I think Demi Moore's performance is just so incredibly authentic and fantastic. Margaret Qualley is one of my favorite actresses working in Hollywood right now, and everything that she's in, she's had a great year of just doing really weird, subversive films, and she is amazing in this. Her character is so straightforward, and just so much about how she commands the screen is what impresses me, especially just the way she moves her eyes in some scenes. It's just incredible the way she knows how to work around the camera to really convey a powerful message. And like I said, nothing in this movie is super nuanced. It's very in your face, but her performance, similar to Demi Moore, really accentuates everything that Coralie is trying to say with this film. Dennis Quaid is exceptional in this as well. He plays the gross, grimy Hollywood executive that treats pretty much all women exactly the same. There's a lot of disgusting imagery in this movie, but one of the grossest scenes in the entire film is like he's at a restaurant with Elizabeth and he's eating this shrimp, and it's one of the most disgusting things in the movie. Just the way the camera showcases it and the sound design behind it. It's fantastic, and I think all of these performances come together to create a really great experience. The cinematography and the editing are exceptional. Like I said, this movie isn't super nuanced. It's very on the nose because it wants to be. And so much of that is because of the visual presentation and style. There's so many great editing moments in this movie, especially when Elizabeth starts using the substance, and the transitions that they use throughout are just amazing. There is a lot of horrific imagery in this movie, and what makes it resonate so much harder is that the cinematographer is willing to focus on certain scenes and force the audience to watch this horrifying imagery, which makes the movie resonate so much more. There are sequences in this very reminiscent of like Kubrick. There's a long hallway that they constantly go back to at the office for the fitness show that looks kind of like the floor from The Shining, and even the bathroom looks kind of like the bathroom from The Shining. But so much of that is because of the attention to detail and the wide shot selections. But there are also a lot of really great close-ups that really get us into the perspective of the characters, which helps a lot too. I loved the score of this movie. It's very chaotic and in your face. It's very similar to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score for Challengers this year. It's bombastic music that you really can just feel through your whole body while you're watching the movie, which makes all of the content that the film is trying to put out there for you resonate so much more. The practical effects in this are incredible. The third act has some of the most disgusting, vile imagery I've seen in a movie in quite some time, and I loved it. I'm so glad that a director was willing to take such a huge swing and do something so amazing through practical effects and really just go for it. I haven't really seen a movie kind of go off the rails in the third act in the best way possible since like the 2018 Suspiria, where it's just like Luca Guadagnino said, I've kind of been subdued through most of the film and now I'm just gonna go for it. And that's what happens in this movie. There's little things that kind of hint towards the extreme stuff that you're gonna see towards the end, but they just really go for it, and I love that about this film. And I think, like I said, all that messaging in this movie about the way women are treated in the entertainment industry, and the way women are looked at when they get older, and just like the way we perceive our own bodies, there's so much good content here. And I think creating such a visceral, raw experience where you feel all of the emotions surrounding it in such a very powerful and gut punching way is really effective, because I think it's interesting when you think about cinema and conversations about nuance in film. And there are a lot of movies now that lack nuance and that lack the ability for an audience to put something together in their own mind. And I think there's reason for that, but I think Coralie had a very specific intention of really making this on the nose because it's prevalent and it's important material. And I think putting it in a way that like gets a very guttural reaction from you was the way to approach a horror movie in this type of context. And so I had a blast with it. And I will say there are a couple of things surrounding the process with the substance, and I don't want to talk about it at all because the more blind you are in this movie, the better. But some of the logic behind it doesn't always make the most sense. But I think because of just how enamored I was in this world, I was able to forgive a lot of it. I didn't mind. And I think on rewatches I would look and kind of see and piece it together, but I truly don't care just because of how incredible of an experience that watching this movie was. And I think what it's trying to say is so important. And I loved this. It's easily going to be in my top 10 of the year. And if you haven't seen this yet, go watch it in a theater before it's gone. So have you seen The Substance? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredible. I loved everything about it, and I cannot wait to see it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.